And we're live. Welcome to the Lakers Late Night Podcast. I am Anthony Irwin. I'm excited after a Laker game. They lost, and I had the best time I ever had this season. I spent like the good, we'll say minute straight telling Harrison how excited I was, and I was almost giddy after that game ended. Speaking of Harrison Fagan joining us from the not shot up apartment building that he resides in. How are you doing, Harrison?
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, apparently that was like a false alarm earlier today anyway. I guess it was like further down the street and I was mistold by someone where exactly it was, but either way, it's not probably something we need to get into on the podcast.
Probably not. All right, so also joining us is
It's really awkward, but go ahead.
Tom Fear is also joining us in his 9 to 5 button up. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm good. How you doing?
I can't complain. Like I said, I'm giddy. It's hard for me to host this show right now because the game went exactly how I wanted this season to go. Obviously, it'd have been nice to win the game. That would have been cool, but the ball was in D'Angelo Russell's hands twice with the game on the line. And in both instances, he at least got looks at the basket. He didn't completely crap the bed. I wrote here in my notes that Byron let the kids play past their curfew and kept them in late in the game. That was my terrible joke. That was it. So, Harrison,
we just found out that was not true.
That is a good point, Harrison. Go
Kobe,
ahead. And
their cool uncle let him in.
Kobe passed him a beer under the table. Harrison, what
He's
went
like,
on
hey
there?
kids, why don't you try some of this sweet fourth quarter playing time? These shots are pretty great. You should get a chance to give them a try.
Don't tell Mitch.
I like how Kobe only does that so long as he's not in the game. Enjoy those late quarter shots, those late game shots, because next game I'm going to be in there and I'm going to be hucking.
Well,
Harrison,
you've got to teach them to appreciate it when they happen.
For those who aren't savvy to the tweets that come immediately after the post game, Harrison, explain what it is that we're talking about right now.
So we were all set to, for the first time this season, give Byron Scott, or maybe second or third time, I don't know, it hasn't been very many times that we've given Byron Scott credit for something positive. And we were about to tonight. We were going to say, hey, he did a good job tonight. He let the kids play. He wasn't a hypocrite. He let the lineup that was hot close, even though it was the younger guys and not the veterans. And then after the game, he came right out and said that Kobe told him, quote, "Coach, let them go. Let's see what they can do," end quote. So Byron Scott's best decision of the year was Kobe Bryant's decision, which is kind of fitting, I guess, if we look at the way that this season has gone.
I totally don't think this is what is happening, but if you look at everything that has happened with the Lakers and Byron Scott over the last 12 months as Byron Scott is trying to get fired, everything becomes really interesting. Like, say that, he finally made a good decision. Oh, no, Kobe. Kobe did that. I don't think that's what's happening, but that is a good conspiracy theory.
I also think that it is possible that he's saying that they're letting Kobe look good out of this, rather than for all the times that he's kind of had them on the bench or whatever. They're letting him take some positive PR.
I mean, who needs the positive PR more right now, though? The dude
That's a good point.
who everybody has been clamoring for his job to be cut short, or potentially the greatest player in the history of the franchise.
But I mean it more as Kobe wasn't in because he was playing. Instead of it being Byron Scott benched Kobe Bryant, it's Kobe Bryant voluntarily sat in an act of charity so that the younger, better players could play.
Yeah, they've kind of morphed into the same entity, you could argue, right? Like, how's this for a completely wildly speculative situation under which Byron is trying to get fired? Is that every decision that's being made is being made by Kobe, and Byron is doing whatever he can to get fired because Kobe's such a terrible coach that he doesn't want anything to do with this anymore. So he's finding any way he possibly can to get out of this. He's being held captive by Kobe. That totally is not happening. But it'd be fun.
No.
It'd be great.
Be an interesting movie plot.
Well, speaking of the kids, playing late, we should, talk about what we did see from them. And I have to start with D'Angelo Russell playing with incredible poise. I would even argue on both sides of the court, right, Tom?
Yeah. I mean, I've said for the most part this season, I thought his defense has been way better than I thought it would be. He's learning to use his size well, I think. He's pretty big for a point guard. And, yeah, I thought he did well on defense tonight. But, yeah, especially he was most noticeable on offense at the end of regulation tonight.
I would totally agree. There was a play defensively where the ball...
Nick Young trapped Wiggins in the corner, and D'Angelo came over and was like, oh, this is it. We're going to get him. And it worked.
It wasn't even... There was another play where he forced Wiggins to spin back into Young, and Young kind of just stood there and got the strip from the hip, from his own hip. That was D'Angelo had to, hedge out on the screen, rotate back to the ball, close out under control, slide hard enough out to the one side to force Wiggins to spin back into the defense. I don't think it gets much better than that technically, for a rookie out there in that situation against Andrew Wiggins, last year's Rookie of the Year, and this year's best player from start to finish on the Timberwolves. That was really cool to see. Anything else that you noticed, Harrison, that made the young guys successful out there? Julius Randle also played well, I thought.
Well, so are we talking about the young guys or just D'Angelo Russell?
No, well, we just covered D'Angelo Russell. So, I mean, Randle was also out there. Lou closed the game out. Sacre played, but he fouled out. What did you see from Randle that made that unit successful?
I thought Randle did a great job rebounding. He was really pulling down boards out of heavy contested traffic. It was those kind of, it sounds cliche, but you want them more rebounds because he was really in there scrapping for them. And his motor has gotten a ton of praise over it since he's been coming off the bench. For whatever reason, that just seems to be the go-to phrase to describe him since he's been benched. But I thought his first step tonight, same as it ever was phenomenal. He was not blowing by guys left and right. Well, mostly left, but yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Anthony, you're echoing a little bit. I don't know what the cause of that is. Are your headphones plugged in? Yeah,
they're plugged in. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Harrison, are you hearing an echo, or is it just me?
I hear an echo, but I wasn't sure which one of you it was.
Yeah, it's Anthony.
All right, well, you guys talk amongst yourselves about Randle a little bit more. Yeah, I'll be right back.
What'd you think of Randle, Harrison?
I was kind of going over what I thought of Randle.
It was so distracting. He didn't understand how to work a computer.
Yes, so other than that stuff, I guess good screens. I thought he played fairly well on defense. He's definitely a much better on-ball defender than help defender, I guess. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still been a few instances this year where he's played really good help defense, and he's actually – I don't actually know the percentages, but it seems like he's had more blocks than I would have thought he would have, especially given his lack of wingspan. But, yeah, he's been much better on the ball just because he can use his lateral quickness and strength, and really no one he's going to be going up against can really match him in that. But yeah, he was awesome tonight. He played a really solid all-around game. He was killing it on the boards. He was going hard, and he was finishing at the rim. So, and even hit a jumper, I think.
Well, the one thing I noticed the most with Randle, as he was, that poor Bjelica guy or whatever who had to.
Bjelica?
Yeah, what's his name?
I don't know.
I
watched like 10 Wolves games this year. I still don't know. It's like Bjelica. I don't.
I had the sound turned off on mine, so.
I feel like with that poor guy out there, every time Randle rotated into an ISO situation, that poor Nemanja would say, "Son of a Bjelica," that he had to guard Randle, and because he was so powerful, you guys. but no. Can you guys hear me all right?
No,
No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
bad.
Is this thing on? No reaction?
No, honestly, nothing. That was no. Sometimes I'm incredibly sarcastic, and I have to try and maintain a straight face, but that was straight awful.
Oh, man. All right, well, moving on from Randall then and his physicality.
For those of you listening that on iTunes that can't see me laughing, I am mostly making fun of Anthony, but that pun was horrible.
Tom, you've spent a lot of time watching the Wolves this year, seeing as Wiggins is kind of your guy, being a Kansas Jayhawk and everything. But what kind of things did you notice from him tonight? What made him successful? It's kind of tough to really compare him against anybody on the Lakers because he's not matched up against anybody who actually matters. But, did he show anything particular tonight that really caught your eye?
No, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was a pretty. I didn't think it was a great game for Wiggins. I thought he was pretty good, and he showed some really awesome things. A couple big plays at the end there, but I think he had 19 points on 7 of 16 shooting, 2 assists, no rebounds, no steals, no blocks, 1 turnover. So it's like he was there and he did some nice things, but he didn't have a huge impact on tonight's game, I thought. And I think most of the time he has a bigger impact than he did tonight.
I mean, it's kind of tough for him to really do much with Kevin Martin playing completely out of his mind, going for 37 points, a rebound, 3 assists, a steal.
Sure.
He literally couldn't miss, and I don't blame what's his name? Sam
Mitchell.
Sam Mitchell,
yeah, from going away from Martin in any kind of big situation. So
and that's one of the things I always liked about Wiggins, even in college, was when the offense was not going through him, he didn't seem to care. He'll be in his spot. He'll be exactly where he needs to be, doing what he needs to do, and he'll focus on defense during those times. And I thought he did a good job of that again tonight. He played really good defense, I thought, but he pretty much always does. But yeah, I think he's a phenomenal team player. Even if I don't think he's ever going to light up the stat sheet with assists, but I think he's going to be a very solid team player that can play good team defense and good team basketball on offense.
Yeah, I kind of like that from a new age kid. What were you going to say, Harrison?
I was going to say I thought his defense was mostly good, but he did get beaten at a couple of key kind of moments, or not always key moments, but early in the game, Kobe got him with a step back, and then later D'Angelo hit that game-tying jumper over him, and Randall had the first step past him late in the game. And so he did get beaten a couple times tonight, which was kind of nice to see, especially from D'Angelo for that overtime shot. And it was also nice to see that D'Angelo was playing well enough that he was getting the respect of they were switching Wiggins onto him.
Absolutely. I mean, that's if they're worried about one defender from the perimeter making a big shot at the end of games, they're going to put Wiggins on him because his athleticism to stay with him and his length and leaping ability to contest any shot means that it makes everything a lot more difficult, which is why it's really impressive that Russell got that shot off at the end of regulation. And yeah, earlier, especially I think it was either early overtime or late regulation, Randall beat him off the dribble. But that's just it was first overtime. Explosive. It was overtime. That explosive first step from Randall, that's going to beat 99% of defenders on most plays.
Yeah. Especially going to his left. I've noticed when he goes to his right, he travels a lot. Where he does that rocker step.
To get it back to his left.
Right. But what I mean is on that rocker step where he tries to, lean this way and then go by to the right. That right foot kind of picks up a little bit. But when he goes to his left, I believe on the play you guys are talking about with Wiggins, he just spun around him. And that was a really impressive play. And I like that he was, he challenged Karl Anthony Towns, who we're going to talk about here in a second, right there at the rim. He wound up missing the free throw, but he went for a dunk over Karl Anthony Towns, where sometimes lately I think you're seeing him get a little too cute, trying to get back to his left hand or trying to go around defenders. That time he just said, you know what, meet me at the rim, to quote Mark Jackson. And it went well. He wound up getting to the free throw line. What did you notice from Karl Anthony Towns, Harrison?
He played very well, I guess. He has a really great fit. He has a really great touch around the basket. Well, not even just right around the basket. It's like it extends out, not quite to where we would normally say mid-range, but kind of that, I don't know, in between mid-range and right at the rim.
10
He
foot or
has
so.
like those weird little flip shots, and he can just finish those. And every single one he makes, you just think, oh, okay, that was a little bit lucky. They forced him into a tough shot, but he just makes those over and over again. And he's already a really good rebounder as a rookie. The sky's the limit for him.
Well, that kind of brings me to the larger point when you're talking about these two teams, in that the futures for these two franchises. This is what we wanted on opening night. This is what we wanted when the Lakers have played all season, and it was kind of cool because a lot of the national, I wouldn't say media, but a lot of the focus in the blogger arena was on this game tonight, and it was a lot of like D'Angelo, and then oh my God, Karl Anthony Towns, and then look at that stop by Wiggins, and you're just this is what this game should be every single time these guys play. I guess the question is, between the Wolves' future featuring Wiggins, Towns, and I guess we'll say Levine is their third guy, and the Lakers trio of Clarkson, obviously, Russell, and Randall. Tom, this could be a playoff preview featuring those cores, you would think, right?
Yeah, a few years down the line.
Years down the line, yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Not this year, really? You guys don't think so? I mean, they're not. Meta said they're not mathematically eliminated, right?
Lakers could win 16 in a row and be right at 500. You never know.
Well, which future?
Hey, the
would
Golden
you...
State Warriors just won 22.
Are you asking me which young core would I rather have going forward?
Yeah, we could extend the conversation to that.
Okay. Well, no, I would rather have the Wolves young core because they have Town and Wiggins, and I think I would take either of those two over any of the. If I was ranking the six, this would be tough. If I was ranking the six of the six young players of which I would want to have on my team going forward, it's really tough between Towns and Wiggins at number one, but those are the top two, and then I would go Russell, Randall, Clarkson, Levine. Or maybe Clarkson. Probably Randall, Clarkson, Levine is what I would go.
Harrison,
Levine is by far the last one.
Yeah, how would you rank them? Because I'm not positive I would go Wiggins so easily number two. I don't know. I think the gap between Wiggins and, let's say, Randall, I like Randall the best of the Lakers' young core. But go ahead, Harrison. I'll think of mine here for a second.
I'm with you there. I don't know that the gap's that large. I still think that at this point, given what they've shown, you have to consider Wiggins the better prospect. And so I'd probably go Towns, Wiggins, probably, I think I agree with you, probably Randall, and then Clarkson, Levine. But I guess we're all a little
Where's
biased
Russell?
on what?
You forgot Russell.
Oh, I skipped Russell.
Yeah.
It's okay. Byron does it all the time.
Yeah, sorry, Rook. I forgot to put you in. Russell, I still think Russell's ahead of Clarkson just because I think the ceiling's
okay,
so much
but you
higher.
would put Randall number one of the Lakers guys?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's tough.
I would go Russell because I feel like he has the best ceiling
right now.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say I would put Russell number one because I feel like he has the best ceiling. Maybe Julius Randle has the best chance to be a good player, and maybe he is right now. I don't know. But I feel like if D'Angelo Russell reaches his ceiling, he's one of the elite point guards in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to. He could just end up being pretty good for a long time. But that's why I would go Russell.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I'm going to go Randall. I think I'm more of a fan of Randall's game than most people. I think especially the way that the league's going, if you have a big guy that can dribble like that and handle that well, and especially if he develops a right hand or a jump shot, either one, I think that would really help him out. And like you said, there's a chance Russell doesn't reach his ceiling, so I guess I'm going to be a little bit controversial and go Randall ahead of him. So I guess then, after the top two Timberwolves, I'll go Randall, Russell, Clarkson, and then Levine. And then what I was going to say was I think we're a little bit biased on Clarkson Levine. I think any Timberwolves fan would say Levine over Clarkson, just because they spent a lottery pick on him. 2 years ago?
Levine's a couple years younger too.
He's younger, but I'm not a big.
I'm not a fan of his at all. Really,
yeah, I wanted to like him, and I watch. Hell, I probably watched more Wolves than Lakers last year, and if not, it's like pretty much equal. Just because I wanted to watch Wiggins and the Lakers were boring. Breaking news. But I don't like his game. I really don't. His numbers are okay for how young he is, and he's putting up points, and he's sort of playing out of position a little bit. Most people think he's a shooting guard, not a point guard. He's been playing a lot of point guard, but I think Clarkson's a much more solid player, and he's older, but I would much rather have Clarkson going forward. But you're right, maybe we're biased in that.
I guess if I had to rank them, I'd still go Towns, Wiggins, but the gap between Wiggins and Randall isn't very big.
Okay, I would disagree with you.
And then the gap between Randall and Russell is almost non-existent. And then Clarkson, because he's a little older, and then there's a huge gap, in my opinion, to get to Levine. And because of that, I kind of like the Lakers trio moving forward. It's again, you look at those two guys, you look at Towns and you look at Wiggins, and you think those guys could be superstars, or they're very, they will be superstars. I'd even say that that's fair. But the clump of the Lakers core, and then the gap between that clump and Levine makes that, the two futures pretty neck and neck, in my opinion. I'd feel a lot more comfortable about the Lakers' future if they weren't about to lose their pick to Philadelphia, which kind of sucks.
We don't know if they're going to do that. Okay, you're a pessimist, is what you're saying.
Very much.
Sorry, real quick before you move on to the next topic, I think, and this seems like a no-brainer, but I think it's really important that they find a way to get a good young small forward piece, because they need a right fit. They need a right piece to be able to make that work with Russell at the 1 and Clarkson at the 2. They need a big wing that can guard the best perimeter wing and can shoot with 3-pointers and space the floor. If they don't get that piece, it's going to be difficult to make a contending club.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's why it kind of sucks that Anthony Brown isn't getting any shine, but
sure.
You don't think Meadows young enough?
He's good enough. Just needs to be a little younger.
Last little tidbit before we move on to Harrison's game. Kobe got, the proper amount of minutes that I was hoping he would see this season, right in that 24-25 kind of range tonight. It took him sitting out the entire fourth quarter and apparently telling his coach to roll with the young kids. But I mean, this is ideal Kobe, right? Be a little smarter with his minutes in the first half so that he can obviously play more in the fourth quarter. But I really liked the offense down the stretch. It wasn't a given that every time down the court it was going to be Kobe shooting some contested fadeaway mid-range jumper over 5 people. The offense looked better without him. Is that fair to say? Harrison, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I don't really feel like we have to hesitate there. The offense has looked horrible with him. So, yeah, I think that's there was just, like you said, so much more variety to what they were doing tonight. It could be a D'Angelo Russell pick and roll with a couple of different players on the floor, or I guess really mostly Randall and Sacre as they kind of built up a little bit of a lead and made their run, and then Hibbert later in the game. But Russell getting to run those pick and rolls and having a bit more space to do it was refreshing.
I would say so. Tom, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being zero chance whatsoever he's Kobe Bryant, he doesn't learn these things, 10 being he's going to show up in the fourth quarter next time and just accept his role because he learned his lesson tonight. But watching those young guys play and compete tonight, do you think there's any chance whatsoever Kobe saying, hey, that looked like they were having a lot more fun that they've been having lately with me on the court?
3.5, if I'm interpreting your scale correctly. I mean, Kobe.
Yeah.
We know what Kobe is. He's going to do what he does. Maybe he'll have Maybe he'll have an inspirational streak of 5 games where he's like determined to let the young guys play or get the young guys involved. But it just seems like at this point Kobe can't change that. And going back to your earlier question to Harrison, yes, it's incredibly fair because the ugly truth about the Kobe Bryant era and the crunch time of the Lakers is that down the stretch, you know, even if you're deservedly terrified of Kobe Bryant that he's going to not care about the defense and hit some ridiculous shot, it makes the offense very predictable and pretty easy to defend. You have to worry about contesting Kobe's shot and boxing out for the rebound, and you're going to know when it's going to go up. And so that's why throughout the years the crunch time Kobe Bryant Lakers haven't had very good efficiency numbers down the stretch. But especially with the version that he is now in 2015-2016, he combines making the offense very predictable with very, very poor shooting that honestly most of the time doesn't even get far enough to take a long bounce off the rim where someone can get a good rebound off of it. I think the Minnesota broadcast actually tonight said that the Lakers are rebounding an astoundingly low percentage of Kobe's misses. Mm-hmm. And usually, you know, in the past it's been a high percentage because, you know, that's why we love to call him Kobe assists, is when he misses off the backboard a lot he draws so much attention that Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum and those kind of guys could put baskets in, but this year it hasn't helped at all.
I think that's a combination of not having Pau Gasol and not having Andrew Bynum, yes. that productive length, and also the type of misses Kobe's putting up, where right. I've started renaming air balls Kobe's at this point, and I don't.
That's what D'Angelo did earlier today.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. That was awesome. All right, Harrison, wrap us up with a few post-game quotes.
So after the game, D'Angelo said, quote, "It's an honor Kobe told Byron to keep him in." Quote, "He easily could have told Coach he wanted that shot to add to his collection," end quote. So they're all paying heed and keeping Kobe happy afterwards.
Well, well, speaking of that imitation you did, D'Angelo really had to pay up tonight.
Yeah, if he didn't play well, I mean, they would have just said he continued the imitation into the game, I guess. But yeah, anything and else? Then this was it's not a Laker, but I guess after the game, Karl Anthony Towns did an interview with NBA TV's people. I guess this game was on NBA TV, or they went to Game Time afterwards or something. And he called Shaq the 7-foot Drake.
What?
Like I don't know. I love that quote without any context.
Okay, fair enough. We'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna spend the rest of the night trying to figure out what the hell that means.
Maybe he thinks Shaq's a good rapper, which means we should probably bump him down a little bit on our future superstar projections.
Yeah, or he's
poor
saying
eye
that,
for talent.
Like
I don't have any hot rap takes, so leave me out of this.
Every team that like Drake was a part of despised him after he left after the fact. I think you can say that about Shaq. That's fine.
Oh, here we go. I got one more actually that just popped in. Nick Young was asked about their key defensive stop on Wiggins, that one that you guys were kind of outlining earlier, and he said, quote, "When you think of defense, you think of Swaggy P."
Tweet that from our account.
Yep, that's a short form article for sure.
Yeah, you found it. You caught me. That's fuel.
All right, guys. Well, like I said to start the show, I enjoyed watching the game. I enjoyed talking to you guys, as always, about the game. Thank you very much, Harrison. Thank you very much, Tom, for joining us. And thank you guys very much for listening in tonight. Everybody, this is probably the most watched show that we've had thus far. So I'll talk to you guys.
I can't believe we crossed 1 million.
Free Tarek Black.
Free Tarek Black.